America is paying for everything, but Europe, they're only paying for speeches. This week, President Trump made that imbalance impossible to ignore. 10% tariffs on 8 European countries. And suddenly, the allies who depend on American protection, they're furious. They say this is unfair. They say it's aggressive. But here's the part that they don't want discussed. Without the United States, NATO cannot function. And no European country would ever spend 5% of its GDP to protect America's southern border. And let me ask you guys this. Should allies pay their share or just keep freeloading off the United States and we, the taxpayers? Stay with me. My name is Tom. I'm with the Daily Beltway, and I'm also White House correspondent for the Next News Network. And what you're seeing right now is a rare moment of honesty in global politics. President Trump has decided America will no longer quietly bankroll Europe's security while being criticized in return. And guys, don't forget, this is a growing channel. Every like, every comment, and every share helps us reach more Americans who want facts without the filter. And sharing this report matters because most people are not being told the full story. I want you guys to check this out. It's from GB News, laid it out perfectly about what's happening with NATO and how much we're being paid. Watch.
Just take a step back for a second. Could you imagine saying to a British taxpayer, a Dutch taxpayer, German taxpayer, Swedish taxpayer, Norwegian taxpayer, by the way, we want you to give 5% of your GDP to defend the US southern border. They'd all be like, well, this is absolutely ridiculous. Why should we defend the US southern border? Whereas American taxpayers have been paying for NATO for all these years. And to that extent, President Trump is completely correct. NATO would be nothing without all that the US has done for so many years. And I will say that Denmark isn't capable of defending Greenland. They really aren't. And with all those rare earth minerals, with the now impending threat from China, the impending threat from Russia, you do know that they don't have the icebreakers that they need. You do know that the Russians have them, that the Chinese have them. I think this is definitely, it's national security for the West. And basically the US is NATO. And I think that it's a great pity that European nations that have been heavily subsidized and protected by the US for so many years don't appreciate and see this as a massive Western issue, not just a US issue. Unfortunately, Denmark isn't capable. And I do think, even though 92% of those Greenlanders supposedly don't want to become Americans, I think when they're offered the range is supposedly between 100,000 and 500,000 each, they might change their minds. And jobs when all those rare earth minerals might be mined, which the Danes have also failed to do.
So they did a good job, and their host said NATO would be nothing without the United States, and that's accurate. Europeans laughed at the idea that the European nations would ever, spend 5% of their GDP to secure America's southern border. They're right. And we're protecting all their borders, giving them the best technology in the world. They get medical infrastructure from us, all sorts of other things. Yet that is exactly what the United States has effectively done for Europe for decades, is protect their southern border. And that is the core issue behind the tariffs. Since